So I am a Nigerian living in Silicon Valley. I live in Oakland. I professionally am a startup founder. I'm a founder of Fimio.xyz. And we want to create reproducible builds, make them very easy. I have just said so many things that you're just like, what is reproducible builds now? What's that one now? But give you a little bit of a background of like how I decided that this is going to be my new obsession.
Yep.
I was part of first Internet 1.0. That was when I was in undergrad. I was super excited about it. And I wanted to be a computer scientist because I was just like, yay, this is amazing. This is what I want to do. And I was a computer scientist. I worked in the industry, part of the first boom and bust, and then went and did my PhD at Berkeley in computer science education, but mostly like a cognitive science type PhD. Well, before I even did that, I was a researcher at the University of Memphis doing research on sensor fusion, sensor integration. And what we wanted to do was knowledge reasoning systems, expert systems that would do plausible inference by integrating all the knowledge of the sensors together and tell us what's happening in the environment. And I was actually good at this thing, but I did not know what I was doing it for. It was just like, oh, research. But one thing led to the next, and my research started pinching me small. I started feeling uncomfortable because I was like, okay, we're funded by the Department of Defense. I was very excited about that. Like, oh, now our stuff is real. And then one day I was just like, wait, these images that we're getting, what is going on in these images? This unmanned aerial vehicle, I think it's a drone. I think this drone is a weapon. I have these pictures. I'm like, this is an object of war. And I started feeling very uncomfortable about it because I hadn't quite made my decision. I was just trying to do some kind of symbolic artificial intelligence. I wasn't really thinking about the applications of any of these things at all. And I started feeling uncomfortable, so I stopped that. Went away for 4 years to be a stay-at-home mom, complete career pivot. Did that, then came back. I was like, okay, what am I actually going to do? I was like, you know what? I love my AI stuff. I love reasoning. I love learning. I want to continue doing this, but in a different context. Education. Can we use data to actually improve how people learn? And not just learn stuff because they want to learn knowledge, but learn technical material. Because I felt like, if you really knew technical material, it could change the world. That's why I came to Berkeley. I did this PhD in computer science education. And this was the era of MOOCs and all this, like the first MOOCs just came out. edX, Coursera, Udacity. It felt like I was prescient, that I was going to exactly where this puck was skating to, and everything just came together at the same time. When I finished, I was like, I'm going to do this, continue doing this, but now let's actually bring back AI to just aid small learning systems. Now let's do it in an informal learning environment. Where do people go to actually create applications and write programs? Like we say, technical work is code. Where are they writing code? Where are they using all this stuff? GitHub. That is the place that all of them are going to. Would it be awesome if GitHub actually had some kind of AI systems built into that data to help all those developers achieve their goal just better, or even teach them or something like that? So that became my next goal. I went to GitHub, was an ML engineer at GitHub. Did some of the first ML stuff at GitHub. Our team, recommendation engines, Dependabot, all the security stuff. Then one of my colleagues did an amazing experiment. We called it semantic search, natural language search. I was like, oh, what if we could actually write some model, sequence to sequence model? I think that's what he did. Use natural language to actually search for code and bring up code snippets. And he did that experiment, and we were all like, this is amazing. You could just say English, I want to do this, and then some Python code will come up. One thing led to the other. Now, I'm working for the CEO, Nat Friedman. Nat bought GitHub on behalf of Microsoft. Then I became GitHub CEO. Now I'm working for Nat as his technical advisor. And now the world is even bigger. Now we have OpenAI. They have GPT-3 and all of that. And it's like, all right, so now all of these models can actually come together and do something rather powerful. but they need a distribution channel, and they really need a place where these things can really have power. And that channel became something like VS Code plus GitHub. So if we actually type in the most, you're probably typing in an IDE. So it becomes, let's deploy this in the context of an IDE and see how good this thing can be. So a developer is writing in English again, or some language, and code spits out. That became super successful. Starts the revolution of Gen AI, because it is a large language model. And it's in this context became super successful. Nat leaves, I leave. The question is, what's next? What do I do next? Now my dreams have actually come true. I wanted to use computers to help people learn technical material. Such an audacious dream, like one of these deep tech things about something you can only imagine, and we've all been looking for intelligent tutors and all this. And now we actually have something that is pretty good at doing that. So then what do you want to do next? If you have a dream and your dream comes true and you're still alive, what is there to live for? So you have to come up with another dream. So what is the next quest that I'm going to go on? And for me, it was open source. There's a whole lot. Even the reason why we can have all these LLMs is because we have all this open source data. We have all this data, and this data is open. And then there's this thing called Web3, which for me was like, this is the future of open source. Open source has a big problem with coordination. It's a coordination problem, nightmare. Web3 is a permissionless system that could help with coordination problems. And the idea of a DAO felt like this could be some experiment in putting some kind of governance on open source. And maybe we can even invent new types of companies, start reading all these books and realizing that the limited liability company, all these things were invented. It wasn't like it just came from God. So then I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a startup and work in that area. And that is what has led me from then to now to founding Fimio. And that is a quick